But you don't need to do anything. It's going to happen anyway.
It's going to happen. Mm-hmm. What a view. It's a very big, bright view.
His full name was pronounced Itzhak Bentov, but to most people he was known simply as Ben. Ben would usually start his talks by saying, "Now we will talk about all there is, from atom to cosmos, from humanhood to godhood, no less." And he would talk about the nature of reality and our place in it, and his own model of the universe, and his personal experiences in expanded states of consciousness. And finally, at the end, the ultimate question: who runs the show? Ben had a tremendous sense of humor and a capacity to explain very complex ideas in a very simple and understandable way. And he illustrated his two books with his own cartoon-like drawings. Niels Bohr has said, "Some things are so serious that one can only laugh about them." Ben called himself a nuts and bolts man, a plumber. He was trained as a mechanical engineer, and somewhere along the way, he started meditating and his consciousness opened up, so that reality began to be perceived by him in two ways, two kinds of knowledge: the linear, scientific, objective knowledge, and the direct, intuitive, inner knowledge of a mystic. And the combination of these two gave him a unique and a very unusual perspective on the nature of reality. First of all, he saw reality as a hologram. It's a totality in which every part is related to every other part, and they're all interdependent. And this hologram he perceived as vibratory in nature. In other words, as he said, it's an off and on reality, and we are only part-time here. It's an oscillating field. And it may appear to us as a continuous reality, whereas in fact, it's like a film composed of separate frames. He looked at reality as a whole as consciousness itself. Consciousness in the state of evolution, of unfolding itself to know itself. And there is nothing outside it. So that the physical reality, the manifest world, is only another expression of that reality, which is consciousness, or existence itself, aware of itself. And matter is then another expression of consciousness at different levels of evolution, so that one can look at reality as being composed of an innumerable number of levels of reality, each level having its corresponding level of consciousness. And reality is perceived by those who are experiencing it only on the level of their own evolution of the nervous system. The mechanism in the physical body that perceives reality is the nervous system itself. And so, as a biomedical engineer, this is what Ben specialized in, he became interested in studying the effects of changes in consciousness on physiology. And I must say that Ben, whenever he talked about these matters, never claimed this to be any sort of ultimate teaching. He spoke about this as a working model. And he would say, I speak from my present level of ignorance, because ignorance grows exponentially. The more questions you ask and the more answers you get, the more questions there are to ask. So it's an unending process of unfoldment of consciousness. And Ben saw reality, or I should say reality unfolded itself to him in the form of structure, because he dealt with mechanisms. To someone else with another background, reality would reveal itself in terms of, let's say, poetic metaphor or vibrations of different sounds to a musician, so that we all are like snowflakes, all similar, yet all different. And the subtitles of his two books actually indicate that reality appeared to him in terms of structure, because the subtitles are On the Mechanics of Consciousness and On the Mechanics of Creation. So Ben has designed instruments to study these physiological changes that occur in the body when a certain energy rises through the spine. In the East, it's called Kundalini, or coiled serpent. It rises up the spine and awakens certain energies in the body, which allow perception to become broader, and the brain functions then on a different level. He called it his model of Kundalini. Ben looked at reality as being driven by the force of evolution to infinity as consciousness unfolds itself. So in this graph, this arrow would represent the energy of evolution. And the bell curve, so-called, is a method to show graphically statistical data. And if the peak of this curve represents the average level of consciousness of humanity now, and the lower end of it shows the lowest level of consciousness, let's say the mafia types, as he used to put it, then the cutting edge here, the highest edge, would be individuals such as Einstein or Leonardo da Vinci. Now, as evolution pushes this ahead, some years from now, this bell curve will assume this position. So what will happen? That the average consciousness will be where the advanced consciousness is today. The low level will be where the average is today. And the high consciousness of humanity at that time will be something that we can hardly imagine. Because as he used to say, the potential of the human nervous system is enormous. And we really don't know where it's taking us, from humanhood to godhood.